The most astonishing hobbies of U.S. presidents and first ladies. While U.S. presidents and first ladies are primarily known for their roles in governance and public service, their private hobbies and interests often paint a more colorful picture of their personalities. From archaeology to skydiving, these 12 intriguing facts reveal some of the unique and sometimes unexpected pastimes of America's leaders. Number 1. Theodore Roosevelt, the taxidermist. Even as a child, Theodore Roosevelt displayed a keen interest in natural history, which would evolve into a lifelong passion. At the tender age of 7, Roosevelt began his foray into taxidermy. By studying animals and preserving their bodies, he learned about anatomy and the natural world. His home, often referred to as the Roosevelt Museum of Natural History, housed his growing collection of animal specimens, which he meticulously prepared and preserved himself. Roosevelt's devotion to this hobby was evident in his personal writings and would later influence his conservation policies as president. He famously said, "I heartily enjoy this life, with its perfect freedom," showcasing his deep connection to nature and exploration. Number 2. Ronald Reagan, model collector. Ronald Reagan's fascination with model trains began in his childhood, but it was during his retirement at his beloved ranch, Rancho del Cielo, that this hobby flourished. He built an extensive setup in the attic of his home, where he meticulously designed and operated a detailed miniature landscape. His collection included models of the Pennsylvania Railroad in various hand-painted, detailed scenery pieces that depicted rural American life. Reagan found joy and relaxation in the hours spent on his model trains, often inviting family members to join in. This hobby provided a stark contrast to the complexities of political life, with Reagan once remarking, "There's something about the outside of a horse that is good for the inside of a man," suggesting his need for simpler, more grounding activities. Number 3. Abigail Filmore, library founder. Abigail Filmore's contribution to the White House went beyond her role as First Lady. She was instrumental in establishing its first permanent library. Before her husband Millard Fillmore took office in 1850, the White House lacked a formal library. Using funds allocated by Congress at her urging, Abigail began acquiring books that covered a wide range of subjects including history, biography, science, and the arts. By the end of her husband's term, the library boasted over 4,000 volumes. Her efforts not only enhanced the intellectual resources of the White House but also set a precedent for educational enrichment in the executive mansion. She believed deeply in the power of education, once stating, "A cultivated mind is the guardian genius of democracy." Number 4. Thomas Jefferson, America's first archaeologist. Thomas Jefferson's interest in archaeology was more than a passing hobby. It was an extension of his intellectual pursuits that had significant implications for the field. At his estate in Monticello, Virginia, Jefferson undertook one of the first archaeological excavations in the United States. In 1784, he systematically excavated an Indian burial mound on his property, applying a grid system and stratigraphic observations that were revolutionary at the time. His findings were detailed in his book Notes on the State of Virginia, which included insights into the burial practices of the Native Americans and speculated on the people who built the mounds. Jefferson's work laid the groundwork for future archaeological methods in America, and he is often credited with being among the nation's first archaeologists. His meticulous approach was summarized in his belief that "I like the dreams of the future better than the history of the past." Number 5. John Quincy Adams, presidential skinny dipper. John Quincy Adams, who served as the 6th President of the United States from 1825 to 1829, found a unique way to escape the stresses of office through his morning routine of skinny dipping in the Potomac River. This practice began during his presidency and quickly became a cherished part of his daily schedule. Adams believed that these solitary swims at dawn not only invigorated his body but also cleared his mind, allowing him to reflect in peace. According to his diary entries, he would rise as early as 4 a.m. to ensure privacy, making his way to the river by first light. This habit not only highlights his dedication to personal health but also his preference for solitude amid the bustling life of politics. Number 6. Andrew Jackson's Cheese Party. One of the more unusual and aromatic events in White House history occurred in 1837 when Andrew Jackson, the 7th President of the United States, decided to host an open house featuring a massive block of cheese. Weighing over 1,400 pounds, this cheddar cheese was a gift from Colonel Thomas S. Meacham of Sandy Creek, New York. Jackson, unsure what else to do with such an enormous gift, invited the public to the White House to help consume it. The event took place on February 22, 1837, and the cheese was devoured within a matter of 2 hours by thousands of visitors. The cheese left a strong odor in the White House, which, according to contemporary accounts, lingered for months afterward, necessitating extensive airing and cleaning of the carpets and drapes. Number 7. Franklin Roosevelt's Stamp Collection. Franklin D. Roosevelt was not only the 32nd President of the United States but also a passionate philatelist. His love for stamp collecting began in childhood and continued throughout his life, becoming part of his daily routine in the White House. Roosevelt's collection was vast and varied, featuring stamps from around the globe, which he used as a diplomatic tool and a form of relaxation. He often designed stamps and influenced their production, advocating for commemorative issues that highlighted significant American achievements and historical events. His advisors would even bring stamp albums to help him relax during recovery from polio or during stressful wartime deliberations. Roosevelt's involvement in philately was so profound that it is said his knowledge of geography from stamps helped during political discussions. Number 8. Richard Nixon, bowling enthusiast. Richard Nixon's enthusiasm for bowling led to the installation of a one-lane bowling alley in the White House basement in 1969. This addition, funded by friends from his hometown, provided a personal retreat where he could engage in his favorite pastime. Nixon, who grew up bowling in California, often used the alley to relax and unwind from the pressures of his presidency. He would host small, private bowling parties for staff members and close friends. The White House bowling alley became a symbolic retreat for Nixon, offering him a slice of normalcy and a physical outlet amid the complexities and challenges of his political life. It was here that he famously bowled a series of games alone on the night of the Apollo moon landing, reflecting on the historic achievement and its implications for his administration. Number 9. Dwight D. Eisenhower, the painter-president. Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th President of the United States, was not only a formidable general and statesman but also an avid painter. He took up painting later in life, reportedly at the encouragement of Winston Churchill. His artistic journey began in earnest during his presidency when he found that painting offered a tranquil escape from the rigors of his office. Eisenhower often painted landscapes, portraits, and still lives, producing around 260 canvases. His style was influenced by prominent artists of the time, and he received guidance from Thomas E. Stevens and Gordon Wetmore, notable portrait painters. Eisenhower's works were personal gifts rather than public exhibitions, including a portrait of British Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery, which hangs in the Imperial War Museum in London. He once quipped, "They would have burned this, his painting, a long time ago if I weren't the president." Number 10. Jimmy Carter, the furniture maker. Former President Jimmy Carter has long been known for his humanitarian efforts and advocacy for social causes, but his woodworking skill is a lesser-known aspect of his life. Post-presidency, Carter has dedicated significant time to crafting furniture and other wooden items, often donating them to charity auctions to raise funds for the Carter Center. His work includes intricate pieces like four-poster beds, cabinets, and chairs, all crafted in his own workshop in Plains, Georgia. This hobby reflects his meticulous nature and commitment to lifelong learning and service. Carter's approach to woodworking is detailed and patient, qualities that have defined his career and philanthropic efforts. Number 11. George H.W. Bush, skydiving enthusiast. George H.W. Bush, the 41st President of the United States, took up skydiving later in life, marking several milestone birthdays with jumps. His first jump was in 1944 when his plane was shot down over the Pacific during World War II, but he formally took up skydiving for fun on his 75th birthday in 1999. He went on to jump again on his 80th, 85th, and 90th birthdays, each time demonstrating his zest for life and adventure. These events were widely covered in the media and served as public celebrations of his milestones, highlighting his fearless nature and physical vigor, even in old age. Number 12. Michelle Obama's Turnip Dance. In 2014, as part of her Let's Move campaign to combat childhood obesity, First Lady Michelle Obama participated in a Vine video where she danced with a turnip to the tune of DJ Snake and Lil Jon's Turn Down for What? The clip was a response to a question about how many calories she burns every time she turns up. This light-hearted moment went viral, exemplifying her innovative and relatable approach to promoting healthy living. The video not only captured her fun-loving personality but also effectively conveyed her message about healthy eating and exercise in a way that was accessible and engaging to a wide audience, especially young people.